1, 2, 3, bingo.
Now introducing the fabulous Swiggavino
You are just in time to talk about time machines.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the fabulous Swiggavino brothers. We are about to make it happen. We have an illustrious guest on the show today. I am stoked. My nipples is hard for this gentleman. This is Kansas City's finest, Ryan fucking Maybe. This man here, bar 5-day graduate, bar 5-day master certificate holder. This man is the cream of the crop. Hey, as dope as he is behind the bar, in front of the bar, he's also a very good man. Ladies and gentlemen, clap your hands. Give a little bit of noise for Ryan Maybe.
Thank you, guys. Sorry, my dog Moose is he likes the camera too. He wants all the
Put him
attention.
on.
Yeah, get it. Check out the Moose.
Sleep in the bed.
The Moose. Yeah, he kind of does whatever he wants.
Yeah, my pit bull's the same way. Dude, my pit bull actually will kick me out of bed. He does not give a shit. I come in the house, he's on my pillow. Sometimes he's under the covers, him and the wife are cuddling, sleeping. I said, this is not right. You got to go. And he's
I'm on the couch again because of my fucking dog. Shit.
So before we begin, actually we have begun. Ryan, please explain to everybody who you are, what your title is, everything that I did not get to cover, and what you're all about in Kansas City. And please include Pop as well.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Ryan Maybe. My company is J. Rieger and Company. We are a distillery that was actually founded back in 1887 in KC, became a huge nationwide brand, and then died with Prohibition. And nobody knew anything about it until about 95 years later. I discovered the history of it and brought it back with the great-great-great-grandson of the founder. Brought it back from the dead. Prior to that, I was a bar and restaurateur. That's my real background. So I had a bar called Manifesto that's still open, still kicking ass, and a restaurant called The Rieger, still doing the same thing. And now got the spirits company. And then also Pop Fest, you mentioned, is the cocktail festival in Kansas City that we started back in 2007. And yeah, I like that hat. That's good. It represents.
Nice.
I'll find the cheese. Absolutely. I think I got something here. Hang on. I went to the last game of the season.
Oh, stop.
So I had a suite pass. So got to see them clinch the home field advantage throughout the playoffs before the Super Bowl.
Like, I know we're getting off topic, but bro, do you know how much I cried in the past 4 years with the Royals and the Chiefs?
Yeah.
We weren't supposed to live long enough to see this happen.
No.
I knew I
amazing.
was going to die before the Royals and the Chiefs won it all. I knew it.
No, it's been amazing. Yeah, we've been really, really lucky the last several years.
Did you happen to talk shit to Sean Kenyon and Andy Seymour at all during the Royals win over the Mets?
Oh yeah, that definitely happened. Absolutely.
Yeah, just making sure.
Yeah, I did. Kenyon will either just ignore me or say fuck off right off the bat, so it's not so much fun. Seymour, on the other hand, like, he'll play along, but he has his limits, and
he does.
He'll be like, all right, that's enough. Get the point.
Well, one more time, cheers to Kansas City for that win.
Absolutely.
Love you, buddy. You're the only person I know that digs the way I dig on Kansas City. So there you have it.
It means the world to me. Absolutely.
100%.
Did the town just go nuts or what? Like, the town had to be going fucking crazy.
During the Super Bowl or after the Super Bowl? Yeah. I mean, it was nuts, man. It was really something else. Like and honestly, like, as big as that was, I don't think it was quite as big as the celebration that the Royals had in 2015.
I was just going to ask you that. I was just going to ask you which one was bigger.
But also, I might be a little bit skewed because during the World Series win in 2015, I was living in right in downtown in the Crossroads, like right along the parade route. And so I was like there for the parade, you know, and everything. Whereas this year for the Super Bowl victory, I'm not living in the same area, and then also it snowed and everything, so that might have put a little bit damper on the crowd. But regardless, I mean, there was a lot of excitement, and people just lost their minds. Like for at least an entire week, everyone just said, "Screw it, rules are out the window."
A lot of Patty Mahomes babies. A lot of Mahomes babies being born. A lot of honey badgers.
Yeah, man. Tyree Hill too, man. That guy's a stud. That's right. That's my son's favorite football player.
They've got the whole team coming back next year too.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Yep.
I'm pretty
That's
excited.
good.
I'm pretty excited.
And,
the fact that our coach is in the basement working on the defense right now makes my nipples hard. So I'm really happy.
It's the second time like last 10 minutes.
I'm gonna keep talking about my nipples being hard. I don't care. It's very good.
Where did that come from? I've never like this is a brand new development for you, Gene.
Here's the problem with what you guys are doing right now. Don't shame me for being myself. You guys always want to be around the real Gene. This is the real Gene. I have tender nipples.
Gene, be virtuous if you want to.
Hey,
Maybe it's a Kansas City thing, and maybe like talking about Kansas City just brought it out of you. I think maybe hard nipples are a Kansas City thing.
you know, I love it.
There.
Well, and there is like a history to that too, because Gene always takes his shirt off, so that might have been like a little like a foretelling. You know, his nipples are hard because the shirt off, or do the nipples get hard because the shirt is off? You know.
All right, before we get back on topic, let me tell you, like tell all my friends. My wife will tell anybody that knows me well enough that if you haven't seen my husband ass naked and his dick, you're probably really not his friend. I didn't know she was telling people that. I didn't know that.
Ryan, we're really happy you joined us.
I'm having a great time.
Actually, he saw me naked in Kentucky, so he's right there.
All right, well, pivoting away from nakedness, man. But yeah, your town is fucking awesome. Like Kansas City made my nipples hard too. I was there, Bar Smarts like in 2012 or something. And like even then it was like an elevated food scene, elevated cocktail scene.
Yeah.
Like your spot, Manifesto Rieger, there was all the food, that Austrian place near the Crossroads. Videos is always good.
2012.
Extra Virgin. Like, and there was like community gardens then, and like it was like an elevated city, way more elevated than Vegas in a lot of ways. So yeah, I'm psyched you're here.
He's always kind of low key, and I like that about KC. You know, I kind of appreciate that.
But I mean, and it's cool. It's always been like a hub of culture too. Like, cause like during Prohibition, like that long history. Cause what Kansas had Prohibition first, right? So like Kansas City was always a booze hub for culture and jazz and booze and all the good stuff.
Oh man, we could spend this entire show talking about the history of Kansas City and the booze culture here and how that all happened and Prohibition. It's a wild story, and I love talking about it.
When can we get you back on and talk about it?
Whenever you want, man.
All right, how about this? When are you coming to? When this is all done, are you coming to Vegas anytime soon? Can we make that happen?
That's an invitation. Consider it done.
Bet. We have 35 rooms to stay in. Great food. Got you.
I'll bet you the Raiders will play Kansas City at some point this season.
That's right. You know what's funny about that? Since we're still way off topic, I mean, why the hell not?
Way off! Way off!
So the stadium being built there in Vegas for the Raiders, the lead architect on that is a Kansas City guy in a Kansas City company. There's actually a lot of really world-renowned stadium architecture and design firms based out of KC. And the lead architect on that project is right here in KC, and he actually is a partner in one of the best bars in the area as well. So I kind of like that. I like the fact that the Raiders stadium is being built by a KC guy. I want to think there's some little hex being put on.
Right. A little secret.
Hey, don't forget there's a guy that buried a Chiefs flag under that cement too that they can't get to.
I hope so.
And people thought it was a joke. So the guy buried the Chiefs flag under their Arrowhead Pride flag, and they removed him from that project. Then he was on another project for the Raider Stadium, and he's taking more pictures with the Chiefs on like the bleachers. And I was like, dude,
awesome.
We can't have you here, man.
That's rad.
Yeah, fuck the Raiders.
Yeah, man. I'm not down.
Never,
Yeah.
never. All
Since
right,
the Chargers moved.
Ray, get us back on track.
Okay, yeah. So now that you pivoted from being a restaurateur now owner to distillery. I mean, that's a whole nother like a whole nother skill set and a whole nother business to learn. I'd say like how is that affected by the quarantine right now? Are you using this time to like catch up or yeah, how's that working out?
Okay, so it's kind of a multi-part question because when we opened the distillery about 5-ish years ago, 5.5 years ago, we launched the brand, and we didn't open the distillery in the kind of typical new micro distillery model where you have like a tasting room and all that kind of stuff in a bar. We were literally a warehouse. We're making booze and building it on the distribution model. So our focus was getting our product into stores, on shelves, on other back bars. You couldn't even, for the first 4 years of our existence, you couldn't even come down and like really take a tour or anything. We were just a kind of a dusty little warehouse. We were making booze every day. But last year we bought the building next to us and we did a massive expansion into this building. Now we have over 65,000 square feet. We went from having no tours, no bars, nothing like that, to having 3 bars on site, multiple event spaces, 6 tours a day. And we expanded our company from about a dozen employees to almost 90 employees. And so that happened last July. And we've just started to feel like we're getting settled in and like figuring it out, when all this happened. And so the impact, to answer your question, the impact of the current COVID-19 has been, I can't overstate it. I mean, it's been dramatic, and we were terrified that we were going to have to lay off 70-ish people, and it was going to really ruin us. But we kind of took that leap of faith and did the whole hand sanitizer thing, and it's really worked. I mean, we've been able to scale it up, and we've currently, just in the past 3 weeks since we started doing it, we've produced and distributed over 35,000 gallons of hand sanitizer, and it's allowed us to provide a lot of that for donation based to the community and hospitals and first responders and all that, while also keeping our employees with a paycheck.
Wow, that's amazing. And so you're keeping busy then?
Maybe busier now than we were before. Yeah, it's been a really wild experience and transition, and yeah, yeah. I'm trying to quarantine as much as possible. I can work from home a lot, but I do go down to the distillery probably 3-4-ish days a week, and we are running 2 shifts of production on the hand sanitizer front.
So I'm laughing at Gene's sound effects.
Right.
I know they're coming from him.
Yeah.
Doing
So
push-ups.
Yeah. So Ryan, do you think this is a permanent change? Do you think this is a hiccup? Do you think, as far as being able to make hand sanitizer, I'm gonna guess that was, I mean, and I don't know, like a new skill that you now have, or even if it's not something you ever paid attention to as much. So in terms of having a new skill or having something that you can use like for the future endeavors, is kind of awesome. But in terms of a permanent change where you're gonna have to always be trying to perhaps figure out how you can stay in business, or what does this look like on the other end?
Well, I think, first off, I think we all have to accept the fact that when we get out of this, at the end of it, there is an end to this tunnel. We will get out of it, but I don't think that the world is going to look the same. I think it's going to be a lot different than what it was. I don't think there's any going back to normal, at least the way that we defined normal before. It's going to be a new normal, right?
Sure.
But with that said, I also don't want to I don't want to make any rash decisions and say, well, it's going to completely transform our company and our business. I mean, we still have to be true to who we are, right? I mean, look at it this way. J. Rieger and Company was a huge national brand in the early 1900s, and then went out of business with Prohibition, and we brought it back. We're not going to let this one stop us. We're going to focus on what we're good at. We're going to continue to work on building the brand and the spirits. But, right now we need to do what we're doing in order to get us there. We have to do the hand sanitizer thing. And it's actually become such an important, lifeline for us at the moment that I actually think we're going to probably keep making it in small amounts, even if when all this is over with, even if we just sell it out of our gift shop. I mean, right now, we're getting it all over the city. We've actually been shipping it outside of the city. We've been shipping it to other cities. Wow. And we're distributing it to some extent in retailers like liquor stores and grocery stores. I don't think we will continue to do that, but I think we'll probably maintain it just for posterity's sake, just to have it in the like in our retail presence in the distillery. But we really want to get back to doing what we're really good at,
Okay. Awesome. So on the other side, like we were talking about what the other side looks like, how many bars and restaurants, in your opinion, are going to make this transition? Rather, is there going to be a lot of bars not coming back from this?
I think sadly, yeah. I mean, if I'm being really, really honest with myself, I think, a lot of bars and restaurants are not going to survive. I mean, but that's also a reflection of some of the problems that we all knew were already there.
Give us an example.
Well, I mean, the profitability of restaurants, especially when it comes to small, independently owned restaurants, the cost of doing business and the profit margins are, it's already really hard. And we already know that. We already know that it's got a high failure rate, right? And it's hard to prepare for the future. And we also know that the workforce is, in a lot of ways, not taken care of the way that they should be. They're not paid a regular livable wage. They live off of tips, gratuity. So many restaurant workers don't have health care, and so they're living hand to mouth, they're living paycheck to paycheck, or even worse than that, living day to day. And I don't think that's sustainable. I think that's something that we need to take a good hard look at as well. I mean, you started to see a shift in that direction before all this happened, where some of the bigger restaurateurs like Danny Meyer, for example, and some others were shifting to a gratuity-free model, because they were recognizing that these problems existed and they were trying to make the business more sustainable. And I think that's going to happen on a larger scale at the end of all this.
Is that going to be like where instead of tips, is going to be bonuses handed out?
I don't really know. I don't know exactly how that looks, to be honest. But I do think there's going to be a natural evolution, and there's going to be some big changes that take place.
Okay.
And how do you see this? Talking about changing our model, how do you see this affecting, the beverage renaissance that's been happening for the last couple decades? I know it's kind of already maturing, but like, where do you see it hitting that? Like, is craft dead? I'm going to say that right now. Is this killing craft?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I've read some articles about people that say that, but I think that's an overreaction. Craft cocktails died before because we went through 14 years of prohibition and we couldn't even get good spirits. And all the great bartenders, if they wanted to keep making drinks, they left the United States altogether. I don't think that is going to happen, but I do think that the market is going to slow down a little bit, and I think that people are going to be a little smarter with their money. I mean, there's some evidence that the idea of charging $18-20 for a cocktail is going to be a lot more challenging to pull that off once all this is over. I do think that's a possibility, but I don't think craft is that. I think people are still going to want a good experience. I think they're still going to want, when they go out, they're still going to want escapism as much, when all this is over, as they did before, if not more so, So I don't think craft is dead at all.
We were talking about this before, and I think O'Donnell here, Adam O'Donnell and Rains, we spoke about what people are going to feel when they come out of this. And I, being as honest as I can, I'm not optimistic about because I know, and I think if you think about it deep down, we have short attention spans and short memories. We have very short memories on this negative downfall. And when people are able to fly from New York to Vegas again, they're going to jump on a plane, no problem, and get right back to Vegas and do what they do and not care, not worry about what we just came through. Which means if they don't care flying to Vegas, guess who else won't care? The CEO of whatever hotels on the Strip. So we won't learn anything as far as taking care of our what's the word I'm looking for, Adam? Disenfranchised workers, those that are living on the poverty line. So those that are working at a big hotel where it doesn't matter because they do have an extra board. I personally believe we're not going to change. I just think that we're going to keep churning. I hope so. I hope we become friendlier people. I hope we start taking care of small businesses better, but I don't think that we're going to change personally. Because again, we have short memories. If you survived it, then you think that you were you're the A type. I survived it because I was supposed to survive it. Screw you if you didn't. Let's keep moving forward. I just hope to God that people can look back on this and say, you know what? Let me slow down and take a sidestep versus charging head first. What do you think? You agree or disagree?
No, I mean it's hard to say. We're definitely speculating. And I think there's a part of what you're saying that's definitely right, where people they're going to be eager to get right back to what they consider a normal lifestyle and what we're accustomed to. I think we're all going to want that, and there probably will be a lot of that as well. But I mean, the reality is, I think a lot of bars and restaurants are not going to reopen. And I think I really hate to say that. It makes me really sad to think that that's not going to happen. Well, they're not going to open. But, the ones that are probably more insulated from this are the bigger, well-funded, corporate chains that are, can weather the financial storm from all this and get back out there. It's the smaller independent places that are, the mom and pop restaurants and the small independent, chef-owned restaurants and bartender-owned bars that are going to have a harder time getting back to normal.
And Harry, that's my question. I want to ask that to all three of you because we've all hit the local markets and work local versus big brands as well, or supply side, what have you. Why is it that the smaller bars and restaurants aren't going to make it? I mean, are they not going to get bailed out from the government as they did with, Ford and General Motors? Are they not going to get bailed out? Or is that because that's one of the things we're saying, we're not going to, small businesses, a lot of restaurants aren't going to make it. Well, isn't the government supposed to help in that aspect? Like, hey, so the day you're open, you guys have a clean slate for the last 4 months. Or do we believe that our government has no heart? Adam, you're on mute.
Yeah, I think on this one, I don't know the letter of all the legislation, but I know that it was focused on the big guys. And I can somewhat see the point. Obviously, if big companies go under, there's a whole vacuum that happens. But yeah, that's what I've heard. It's sad. I've heard the restaurant industry in general and the small mom and pops, especially like you said, they're not gonna have enough rainy day fund to get through it, which I absolutely agree. And it's super, super sad. Especially like bartender owned bar, chef run spots. They don't have like the guidance as well. And they might not have their P&Ls all in order as much as like a corporation. So
Adam O, what do you think?
I concur.
All right.
There have been
moving on.
There was at least one large company in town that was going to pay, they were paying their staff through the end of April, and then they were going to reassess. And then they just announced, you know what, we're going to pay them through the middle of May. And that is such a big luxury to be able to offer that. Is it because they have a rainy day fund? Is it because they have uh, a stable of lawyers that are able to get as much money as possible from any sort of fund that's available? Lots of reasons. So
And they're
the larger
privately
you
owned.
are, the more bandwidth that you have, you can weather this. However, coming out the other end, let's say that these larger places do weather it and they come out and they are open for business. What is the product that people are going to want? Is it going to be the same exact thing? Let's say the floodgates open, and let's say like there's one day, let's just say June 1 for example, June 1, everything is back open again. Are you going to see every single place filled? Are you going to see people wanting the same thing, or have people kind of reassessed what they want out of life or out of their entertainment and how they're going to spend their money? So I guess Ryan, like for you too, is that a thought that's gone through your head? Like, are you looking at doing anything differently coming out of this, with the idea that perhaps people are not going to want the same thing, and perhaps they'll be looking for something different without even having an idea of what that might be?
I understand where you're going with that. So I was actually just reading one of the industry newsletters this morning about there's already evidence and indication that people are trading down on the money amount of money that they're willing to spend for a bottle of wine or a 6-pack of beer or a bottle of booze, right? They're trading down from what they used to be comfortable spending to something that's maybe a little bit more moderate that they'll still enjoy. So there is that. I don't think, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think that really impacts us a whole lot. In fact, in some cases that might be beneficial to us. Our products are very moderately priced. I wouldn't call us like an ultra premium brand. But I think in the bigger picture, the grand scheme of things is, from our perspective, I will say that I've already started to think about our business differently. And I've already learned some things throughout this process that I think will make us better on the other side. Mainly, a vast majority of our business has been done through bars and restaurants up until this point. And that's partially, part of it's strategy, like intentional strategy, like that's what we targeted, but part of it's just a natural thing because my background is as a bartender and a bar and restaurant owner. So I knew bar owners around the country and bartenders, and like that was a natural in. And also it was easier for us as a brand to get traction in bars and get bartenders behind us than it was to like pay slotting fees and play the retail game, which is really expensive and really hard to get traction in. So we've been very, very heavily weighted on the on-premise side, the bar restaurant side, and that's hurt us now. And so what's happening right now is like we still have our distribution through our distributors in all these states, but our sales have just fallen off a cliff. So now we have to immediately figure out a way, how do we get better at the retail game? How do we get better at off-premise sales? So just from my personal experience and from our brand's perspective, that is definitely something that we will be looking at, and we're already starting to work on with these changes that are out of our control.
Yeah.
Fair.
So Manifesto, how's that going? Are you doing takeout?
No, Manifesto is really just a bar. So there's not a whole lot of options there, but Manifesto is in the basement of the Rieger, the restaurant The Rieger, which is the old Rieger Hotel. And Howard Hanna, the chef owner, I opened Manifesto and the Rieger, actually, what is today? The 9th? Manifesto turns 11 years old tomorrow.
Wow.
So our 11
Happy birthday, Mr.
11-year
President.
anniversary.
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
Manifesto!
That in the bar restaurant world, 11-year anniversary is like the gold diamond anniversary. Are you kidding me? Like that all by itself.
It's something to be really proud of, man. And it's something I am really proud of. It makes me really, really happy. But and honestly, it's like Manifesto and the Rieger have just gotten into such a groove, and it was really, really, really hard for the first, 5, 6, 7 years. And then it started to like really like get find itself, and it's, they're both performing at a really high level. And that's the harder part, not just staying open for 10 or 11 years, but getting better 10 or
Yeah.
11 years later. You know, that's the
Right.
part that like makes me really proud and makes me really happy. So they're going to be okay. But you know, Howard Hanna, the chef owner at the Rieger, is, man, he's turned into our own local Jose Andres. I mean, he did not waste a second when all this hit. He immediately, without even any hesitation, turned that restaurant into a full-blown soup kitchen, providing free meals every day to hospitality industry workers and anybody who needs it. And he is currently cranking out 1,500 plus meals per day carry out. And
Holy shit.
it's blown my mind. It is so impressive what he's doing. And the whole community, the whole city has rallied around him, from vendors, you know, providing donations to other restaurants saying, hey, we're not open and our food's going to go bad, so you can have it. One of the food purveyors parked a refrigerated truck in the parking lot because he had run out of storage space. I mean, it's just really phenomenal what he has done. And, you know, it's going to put him in he's doing, you know, a similar thing like what we're doing with the hand sanitizer, where he's providing something that's necessary to take care of people that need it right now. But at the same time, he's taking care of the staff. And so, you know, people are still getting a paycheck, you know,
Good.
and, you know, so it's good all around. And it's going to put him in a position to make sure that when this is all over, he can reopen the Rieger and Manifesto and everything is, you know, should be okay.
Well, that's awesome.
That's
Give it
awesome.
up for Chef Hannah. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
That's what's up.
Dynamite.
Are there any programs nationally that food and beverage employees and small business can be a part of that you know of? Maybe some bar staff, serve staff that they.
Yeah, I mean, there's been quite a bit, and you know, the USBG has been taking in a bunch of cash donations from large companies like Pernod Ricard, Diageo. I think Jameson was the first one to really step up and make that announcement. So some really big numbers as far as you know, financial donations from those brands. But they've got a lot of bartenders to take care of too. You know, that has to be stretched a long way. So that's one way. The federal bailout program does provide some payroll relief. You know, you have to go through the process of applying for those loans, but those loans are forgivable as long as you meet the criteria. You keep your employees on payroll. You know, and because I think you have to have like 2.5 months. It basically covers like 2.5 months worth of payroll. So there are options out there, and we need to take advantage of all of those opportunities as much as possible to ensure that we can get back to business. You know.
Right on. Brother, thank you very much for joining us today. Do you have any final thoughts, words of wisdom, anything you want to express before we go?
Wash your hands.
Get our
Well, you've been
sanitizer.
told since you were 3 years old. Wash your hands.
Right. Wash your hands. You know,
Funny.
drink good whiskey. Take care of people. You know, be patient. Like everyone's dealing with this stuff in a different way right now, and I think we need to be, you know, we need to use our roots in hospitality to show empathy right now as much as ever. I think that's really important.
Right on. Hey,
Amen.
thank you very much, brother. We appreciate you greatly. Hey, we're gonna get you back on, right? And back in Vegas.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. I'd love to.
God bless, brother. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Ryan, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Cheers.
Get him out of here. Bye,
Oh,
Moose.
jeez. Nailed it.